Dying Light 2 Stay Human's latest update adds tons of new features. The update contains new PC benchmark, motion sickness reduction, improved visuals, Intel's X-e-s-s Upscaler, and tons of other improvements. Dying Light 2 has been mostly well received as a worthy sequel to the surprise hit from 2015 which combined the fluid movement and park hour with the open-world zombie-slaying carnage of Dead Island. Which the developer known for, the game's biggest problem is bugs, with many players frustrated by a significant number of game-breaking bugs at launch which developers have continued to patch out with considerable updates. It's not unusual for game sequels to disappoint fans of the original by leaving out beloved features. Dying Light 2 was no exception. While the open-world zombie sandbox got plenty of good reviews and a mostly positive response from community fans, there were some bugs and complaints about the lack of zombie ragdolling and weapon repair, many more glitches that will not break the game but ruins the gameplay immersion. The game generally received favorable reviews, with praise directed at the combat, park hour system, and open world, but criticism for the story. It sold over 5 million units in its first month of release. Dying Light 2 Major First Story DLC Bloody Ties was released last month. The latest update 1.8 is focused on a number of performance and visual improvements along with a healthy dose of fixes across PC and consoles. One of the most important additions is a motion sickness reduction preset, since the game features some intense first-person camera motion due to the park hour movement and it can be particularly effective for those who are sensitive to motion sickness. On the gameplay side, the biter behavior has been adjusted to make them more aggressive, which should make the environment a bit more risky and players have to move carefully around them. The game is still receiving new features and fixes despite Techland moving onto a fantasy RPG reportedly in the works, and the game is significantly better than before at launch. Dying Light 2 Stay Human is a great game that I definitely will recommend you to try out the game. The gameplay is engaging, the story is not interesting, and future patches and DLC could easily fix graphics, bugs, glitches and replayability. I could go on like this, but this game takes what was great about the first game, and adds less immersion. It's smooth and easy to move, run, climb and jump. And the combat is extremely fun and gory is top-down amazing. So far I don't have anything bad to say, aside from some bug fixes I don't like, but no game is perfect. This game perfectly achieves everything that the intended audience wanted it to achieve. The park hour is flawless and the combat is a significant improvement from the first game. The new and improved skill tree grants players access to a wide variety of abilities which truly make you feel like you are in control of the character. The conclusion about the game is its smooth easy parkour movements. The fun and gory combat. Players' rewards and extensive progression tree, a vast array of unique weapons and armors, cool outfit to unlock. Great dialogue and voice acting is amazing. Cinematic cutscenes are studio quality. A huge, unique open world with tons of activities and exploring to do. Fun and challenging side quests. Immersive and okay-ish story. Graphically gorgeous looking game. Different variations of zombies to kill. Human thugs and bandits a threat besides dealing with undead. Fun and easy crafting systems, with lots of different components to be found and scavenged around post-apocalyptic world. The world looks extremely beautiful and the lighting in the game makes the game more appealing with details. Day and night cycle, presenting you with two different and unique world encounters. Addictive character progression. So much to loot and collect. In my opinion, the gaming market is and has been very slim for picking a good zombie game over the past 5 to 10 years. The World War Z, Back 4 Blood and all the other recent zombie games have been fun, and in their own right deserve to be praised and played. However, apart from Days Gone, which is my personal favorite when it comes to post-apocalyptic zombie games, there hasn't really been a AAA zombie game I've fell in love with. Dying Light 2 is a fantastic, story-driven, character progression, park hour, open-world zombie game and I highly recommend it to anybody who loves post-apocalyptic zombie games and played the first Dying Light. The one thing I will say, the beginning is sort of like your tutorial and introduction to the world. But once you pass that, the game and the world open up to you, giving you an endless array of things to do. Honestly, I'm impressed. Techland did really well. From audio ambience, combat intensity, parkour adrenaline rushed nights. From Dying Light 1 to Dying Light 2, Techland has been working hard to improve the quality of the game. Thank you for listening to the community. Overall, this game delivered very well, and I'm sure with new updates to come out it'll improve the overall experience. Things aren't always perfect, but eventually in time this game will be a proper sequel to its previous predecessor. All in all, Dying Light 2 Stay Human is an awesome game with tons of possibilities and exploration involved. The days are peaceful with its amazing open world, while the nights are challenge for survival. The combat is nice with some RPG elements in the mix to properly spice things up. While the story could be better, it is an upgrade compared to the first. However, if you're not a huge fan of zombies or the story and were expecting something different than the first game, maybe wait for it to go on sale before buying the game. As always, thank you for watching. See you guys on the next video. Please consider subscribing to our channel and click the notification bell to be notified whenever we upload new videos.